Hi.
Hello, Mr. Akilami. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
All right, so let's just wait for like 2 minutes. Let some more people join. Do you mind?
That's fine with me.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so welcome everyone. It's 3 minutes past 3. Let's wait for maybe some more people to join. Apologies for the delay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll be starting shortly since we have some more people in the room now. Okay. Mr. Akelami, yeah, you're the first to come in. Welcome on board. Mr. Gafar Ogungbade, that's my Oga. Good afternoon, Chief. Mr. Muhammad, yes, you're in the first session. So me, Famodu, Mr. Steven Adeyemi, welcome everyone. So be jumping right in now. We have to wait a bit for more people to join. Okay. All right. So we'll be going ahead with the micro webinar for 5 minutes, boom, of pure value. So today we'll be discussing the miracle of time boxing for personal and project effectiveness. The miracle of time boxing for personal and project effectiveness. So let's start by introducing myself. I'm Ibrahim Kazin Oladeji. I'm an IT consultant with over a decade experience working on some interesting projects. I'm a member of the John Maxwell team, and I lead a team of coaches who help people blast the PMP exam. So if you have interest in actually writing the exam, you can talk to us. We can help you get it done in record time and at first sitting. All right, let's jump right in. We usually start our micro webinars with this. Welcome to the Kazin tribe. We seek ways to enhance productivity. We are thirsty to boost performance. We love to continuously grow and improve. We are Kazin. All right. So time is what we want most, but what we use worst. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst. What do we mean by this? The whole idea of the concept of time boxing, the whole idea of saying is the secret of the world best, the whole idea of saying it's something that the big names all across the world use to get massive value and to squeeze out as much opportunity, as much time and resources out of the same 24 hours that we all have. It all comes down to respecting that thing called time. It's that thing we all have. It's what we wanted the most. I'm sure a lot of us now, we've heard that sentence of saying, okay, I wish I had 48 hours in a day. I wish I had like 12 more hours each day to be able to get my things done. But as much as we pretend, or as much as we claim to value time, as much as we all want to have more time to get what we want to get done, but we use it the worst. Yes, we use it the worst, either knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, intentionally or unintentionally. Time is that is that resource that once it's gone, it never comes back. This is 3:08 p.m. Nigerian time on 19th of February 2022. 3:08, once it's gone, it never comes back. 3:07 for today has gone, it will never come back. So we all understand these things passively. How do we push this thing into our active mindset? That's why we are here today. And the reality is the concept of time is something that has been immemorial from the beginning of time itself, from the beginning of creation itself, or even before. But experts have always, done a lot of study on the extraordinary people, the people who come to this world and they get so much done within very little time. And they've been able to extract a number of tips, and you can call them tricks, you can call them tips, you can call them approaches, methodologies that they use to be able to get the best out of their time, that they use to be able to get things done and be able to achieve so much more in the same time that we all use in passing. So we mourn for times passing. This is another quote here. We mourn for times passing, but we do not respect it in the present. We want it back after it is gone, but ignore it when it is here. We do not properly value it. So this is a quote from philosophyblog.com. We mourn for times passing. At every point in time, we look at the time, we say, oh, it's 4 p.m. My God, how has today gone? I woke up just 5 minutes ago. Oh, like that, as if it didn't come at all. You know, we don't respect a.m. to 3 p.m. Between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m., there was 7 a.m., there was 8 a.m., 9 a.m., down to 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. And even this 3 p.m. is going, in the twinkle of an eye, there'll be 4 p.m., there'll be 5, there'll be 10 p.m., there'll be 12 midnight, and then another day comes. And then that's how we keep going. The day comes, the day goes, the sun rises, the sun sets, and everything just goes. But we do not respect it in the present. That is the critical problem we need to solve for. We kind of have the feeling of time after it is gone, and we tend not to have the respect for it, the awareness of it in the present. We want it back after it is gone, but we ignore it when it is here. We do not properly value it. It's a very, very fundamental principle here. And if you can solve for this principle, for this gap of understanding and appreciating time in the now, you will be able to radically change your approach to using time. You will be able to radically change your understanding, your perception, your awareness of that thing called time. Because at the end of it all, time is the only non-renewable resource we have. That's the only non-renewable resource that we have. Wealth to come and go is renewable. Your blood, even your blood regenerates. Your cells in your body regenerate. Hair regenerates. Lots of things regenerate. In fact, everything regenerates. But time, once it's gone, your health can come and then it goes, and it comes and it goes. Youthfulness, time, that's that thing that once it's gone, a second gone can never come back again. And that's the reason why we have to beware. That's the reason why we need to stop this habit of being unaware of the passage of time and actually put in structures to make us appreciate time in the present and give it the right attention. And of course, towards hitting our life goals, towards hitting our project goals. You may never have thought about this before, but it is 100% true that time is the only non-renewable resource. Time is the only thing in life that you can never get back once it is gone. So now we understand the problem. What are those things we can do? There's this whole industry. In fact, you can even call it a whole industry called the time management industry. It's a whole huge, courses, concepts, books, blah, 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 methodologies that have come around this idea of time management. Time management didn't start today. It didn't even start in the Roman era or the Persian era or those eras that have gone thousands of years before. Time management is as old as humanity itself or ourselves, because we all understand that there's time, and we can see a direct relationship between how you use your time and your accomplishments in life. So time management is the whole idea of behaviors that aim at achieving an effective use of time while performing certain goal-directed activities. Effective use of time in working on a goal or goal-directed activities. Effective use of time. Okay. Time management at the surface, you look at time management and you just say, it's easy now. I just ensure I understand what I'm doing. I apportion time, blah, 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 and I get things done. Set a task, put a timeline, and then you get it done. Is it really that easy? Let's ask ourselves, are we really this? We know this, yes, but do we really get it done? Do we really actively do it this way? Is it really as easy as it? Just set a time and then boom, and then you are fine? Is it really that easy? Is it really that simple? Because these things go beyond even just projects. This even comes to our personal lives. Do we really understand this principle? Do we really get to use it well? Despite the seemingly common sense perception of time management, a lot of people and projects still struggle, miss deadlines, and they struggle to get things done by the allotted time. So that now tells us that it seems like it's elusive. There's no one strategy fits all, kind of. We all have to understand, first of all, we all need to understand and appreciate that concept that time is not something you want to waste. It's something you want to have some clear and active awareness of its passage. And then we want to put strategies in place to be able to, continuously make the best out of it. Okay, so there's a way out. So the problem of managing time can be overwhelming, but there's a way out. There's some strategies here and there. Get organized, learn how to say no, prioritize wisely, group similar tasks. It's called batching, avoid multitasking, building in buffers, eliminating distractions, assigning time limits to tasks. Like I said, time management is a whole industry on its own. In fact, a huge chunk of project management principles, a huge chunk of project management techniques are about managing time, managing your schedule. It's a very huge chunk of project management. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about getting things done. You want to get things done the right way. You want to get things done the right time, in the right sequence, of course, towards achieving customer satisfaction. And then in our own personal lives, it's just like going to school. You're going for a 4-year degree. It's not just about finishing this. You want to finish well. You don't want to finish a 4-year degree in 8 years. So there's so much about having mastery of this elusive resource called time. There's so much of value that it brings to our lives personally, and then to what we do in terms of our projects, in terms of our endeavors, even in our operations. So here are a number of strategies. Let me just say 1 or 2 sentences about each one before we now go into the main one for today. Get organized. The whole idea of managing your time is key, that you are organized. If you are disorganized, you wouldn't be able to manage your time very well. Being organized means that there should be some structured way in what you want to do, such that you have some, you have some structured approach. You want to do this first, then you want to do this, then you want to do this, you want to do this, not just random. Randomness has a way of bringing you close to chaos. Randomness has a way of bringing you close to chaos. There's so much around the issue of being organized. That's not the fulcrum for today's discussion. Learn how to say no. Of course, you shouldn't be a yes man. You should always ensure that your life is primarily primed towards your goals. Just like your projects are primarily primed towards achieving your objectives, not just open-ended, anybody come in to use my time, anybody come in to use my resource. And then prioritizing wisely, that's still part of being organized. Grouping similar tasks together. There's so much of science around this concept of batching. We wouldn't go into that today. Avoid the urge to multitask. That's a very big one. As much as possible, you shouldn't try to multitask. It's a bit controversial. Some people say they are born multitaskers, but the reality is science has said it all. You wouldn't be able to multitask effectively because the brain itself is not built to multitask. What you are doing when you say you are multitasking is you are simply task switching from one task to the other. Okay, building buffers just means that to some extent, put in some extras. You say you want to do this thing for this time, put in some buffers so that you don't kill yourself, don't overwhelm yourself psychologically. Eliminate distractions, that's a very key one. And then the most important part of today is assign time limits to tasks. So that takes us to the concept of time boxing. So time boxing is a technique that comes originally from project planning. The technique has been used by several famous people, Musk, Bill Gates, anybody that has achieved any significant amount of thing in this world has been practicing time boxing, whether you call it by that name or you call it by another name. So what is time boxing? What exactly do we mean by time boxing? The concept of time boxing was first introduced by James Martin, who is the author of the book Rapid Application Development. He just named it. Time boxing has been from time immemorial, but he named it. That concept of time boxing, that name came from James Martin. So time boxing was initially an agile software development concept, and it involves allocating fixed maximum units of time to a task and completing that task and putting efforts, resources into ensuring that you complete that task within the time frame allocated to it. Let me go back a bit. Why are we discussing time boxing? There are 1,000,001. There are so many techniques. We all, first of all, need to agree and understand the importance of ensuring that we continuously work on ourselves to have greater self-awareness of time, greater awareness and consciousness of the passage of time. And there are many techniques that we can use to make us respect time even more, that can make us, be more aware of the passage of time. I discussed some of them, but the one we are going into detail a lot more in this session is called time boxing. Okay, so work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. The whole idea of time boxing stems from these quotes here by Cyril Parkinson. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Most times, if you want to get something done if you allocate 2 hours or something, you probably could finish it in 2 hours. If that same thing you allocated 1 hour, maybe you could have been able to finish it in 1 hour. If you had allocated 30 minutes, you probably would have still been able to finish it also in 30 minutes. Of course, not all the time, but it's just a general principle, a general concept that says you need to actively manage your time to allocate what you want to use for a particular activity and not just leave it open-ended to say, let me get this thing done. And you don't have some clear time boundaries for which you want to get it done. You just leave it open-ended. And then you just, before you know it, you spend the whole day, before you know it, you spend a whole week, you spend a whole month working on that thing, that if you had been focused on it, you would have realized that you would have been able to crush that goal in a fraction of that time. Let's talk more about time boxing. A time box is a fixed period of time allocated for carrying out a planned activity. A fixed period of time allocated for carrying out a planned activity. Time boxing is also called time blocking. It's one of the numerous time management techniques that is used to allocate a fixed maximum time to a scheduled activity or to a scheduled task in advance. Note the keyword there, in advance, such that you want to put in all resources and efforts to ensure you complete that activity, you complete that task within the allocated time frame. And then, of course, once you are done, ensure that that task is done, and then blocking distractions. if you'll be taking just one thing out of this concept of time boxing, it will be this: allocate fixed amount of time, aggressively block out distractions, and put all your effort into ensuring you do just one thing at a time. Avoid multitasking. Just this alone can give you an extra 4 hours, 3 hours every single day. Work in time boxes, aggressively block out distractions, and ensure you don't multitask. There's a lot of science behind all of these principles, but this is a micro webinar. We won't be able to go into details. The concept of time boxing is all around us. In fact, nature is inherently structured around the concept of time boxes. If you look around you, you can see a lot of order put in by the creator to ensure we get things done. Look at nature itself, the way we procreate, the way we grow, the way we move, the way we do so many things. Nature is already super organized, largely around time boxes. We have some, of course, it might not be cast on stone, but to some extent, you look around, look at weather, the way weather comes in, goes, the way the day rolls into the night, the way procreation works, the way so many things work. To some extent, it puts order. Imagine if we were to live our lives in complete randomness of weather. You know, imagine if Monday is winter, we don't know whether Tuesday is going to be summer or autumn or something. It just comes randomly. So you can start imagining how catastrophic planning our lives would be, you know? So that order that God has put into the world as a result of we having a rough idea of how things would go, we can simulate that to bring a lot of order into our personal lives. We can simulate that to put a lot of order into our projects, into how we get things done. Remember the 3 key principles. Work in time boxes. Don't just have open schedule for your activities. If you want to get something done, ensure you have it assigned and you have some level of timing, deadline to it. And then don't just do deadlines alone. Try as much as possible to work without distraction, and then try as much as possible not to multitask. The aim of time boxing is not just to set a deadline. Well, that's a common misconception. We think time boxing is just about deadlines. No. The aim of time boxing is not just about setting deadlines for the task you want to engage or work on, but to limit the amount of time you'll be spending on the task before its deadline. Time boxing usually limits the task or activity you want to do to a fixed, realistic time frame that can be either in minutes, in hours, weeks, or even months. The most important thing is you want to do some pre-thinking. You want to plan in advance and then come up with a timing to say, if I'm supposed to work effectively, efficiently, without distraction, without multitasking, how long should this thing take me? And then you sit down and plan. In fact, you realize that there's so much, the productivity industry has come up with a lot of useful tools and techniques, you've found lots of extraordinary people in the history of the world who have written about their strategies with which they've been able to navigate the murky waters of this world to achieve so much in their lifetime. And one common denominator to almost all of them is that you realize that they don't joke with their time. I was listening to Tai Lopez. I'm in a mentorship program with Tai Lopez, and I was listening to him on Thursday. That was the day before yesterday. We had a live session with him, and he said something. He said, you would never see someone who has significantly achieved anything in life joking with their time. You would never. They are always strategic about their time because they actively understand that that's the most important resource they have. Yesterday night I was listening to Chris Do. I'm sure if you watch YouTube, all these useful videos on YouTube, there's someone called Chris Do. Yes, that's his name, Chris Do. And he was talking about the art of delegation and all of that. And he was emphasizing the fact that we all need to actively understand, not just on our tongue or in our hearts alone, actively, logically, right there in our brains, understand the fact that time is that thing that is the most expensive resource we have. And every day that comes on and off, we are getting closer to our death. And the reality is, whatever achievement you want to get done in this world, the fact that today has come means that you have one day less to get it done. So we need to be less frivolous about just letting the day come and go, come and go, come and go, and get more active about strategically planning and working towards hitting our goals in life. Strategically planning and working actively towards ensuring that our endeavors are actually hitting their targets, hitting their goals, getting things done, meeting our expectations, of course, to the best human possible efforts. Okay, so time boxing and agile project management. So let's just do a quick 5 minutes overview of the world of agile. In agile software development, agile started as in the software industry, but now agile is almost everywhere. So there's some concepts I want us to look at: sprint planning meetings, daily scrum meetings. It's interesting to note that scrum meetings often hold their daily scrum teams, often hold their daily scrum meetings while standing. Why? Okay, before we get there, agile is all about, okay, let's talk about scrum particularly now. It's all about using time boxes to hit your project targets rather than having a full-blown start to finish approach to a project. On a traditional project lifecycle, you start, and then at the beginning, you want to plan for the whole project, and then you want to get everything done. And then at the end of the project, you want to go and show your customer or your client to say, okay, this is what we have achieved. This is what we have produced. Is it okay? Do you like it? If the person doesn't like it, then you go back and then you now start making corrections. Fine, it has worked. It works in a lot of industries. But for a number of industries, it's not the best approach. So that's why one of the reasons why the agile methodology now came up is that we don't have to wait till the end of the project to go and show the project, to go and show what we have done to the customer. How do we cook in rapid feedback? How do we get agility, get feedback a lot often? And of course, use the feedback to ensure we keep working on the most important things at every time. The customer is very involved in planning and working on the project. And of course, we interface with the customer a lot often. We get feedback and we keep trying to get better. So the point here is that's where the concept of sprints come in. So the concept of sprint in agile itself is that time-boxed approach to managing a project, wherein rather than say you want to work for 6 weeks and then at the end of the 6 weeks, go and show your customer, why don't you break that into two weeks, into 3 sprints of 2-week sprints, 2-week sprint, 2-week sprint. So in the 2-week sprint, you go into your 2-week sprint with intense focus towards achieving some specifically chosen sets of tasks or user stories. Intense focus into achieving those tasks, into achieving those to-dos, into achieving those user stories. And at the end of that, you produce a miniature version of the final product. You produce a miniature version of the final products that you can actually take to the customer to say, okay, we have finished 1 sprint. We have produced version 1 of the big thing we want to do. Kindly review, confirm we're on track, give us your feedback. And then you take all of those, you go into the 2nd sprint. And then you go into your 2nd sprint, and then go into your 2nd sprint, you go back into your backlog, you select the prioritized user stories or items that you want to work on for that one. And then you go into your 2nd sprint. That is a very time-boxed approach to hitting your goals in managing a project. We can leverage on these principles for our daily lives too. You can pick these principles and use them to work towards achieving our life mission, achieving our life goals. Our life itself is a project. can we start managing our life itself as though it's a project? And of course, you understand that once you say something is a project, you have some clear deliverables, you have some clear deliverables, you have some clear targets, you have some clear expectations, goals that you want to hit. And then you want to put in some strategies, methodologies towards working in a focused manner from where you are towards where you want to be. So we can use these principles to be able to, get better in our personal lives. Time boxing, of course, originally that term was coined from the agile people, even though the concept itself has been in existence since the beginning of time, So we can leverage on this thing to also improve our personal lives too. Okay, so how do you time box? Time boxing involves 5 steps. Time boxing involves 5 steps. Define your task, set the desired target or goal, set the time, get the work done, assess your results. And then you get this done often and for as many things as possible. You can see from the image on this side, how do you switch from a task-based thinking to a time-based thinking? A very beautiful principle around this is using that technique called the Pomodoro. The Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is a very, very interesting one. It's just about, rather than just walking, just sit down, walk throughout the day and all of that. Can you break time down into short time boxes of 25 minutes? So rather than work on your tasks as your tasks per se, rather, can you box your tasks or can you push your tasks into time boxes and you are working to time rather than just working on your tasks? So when you want to get a task done, rather than say, okay, to take me blah, 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 you can think how many Pomodoro periods will this thing take me? How can you get to that point in which you actually time-based in your thinking? That you can start thinking of how many time boxes will this thing cost me? Okay, this thing will cost me 3 time boxes. Or this thing will cost me 3 Pomodoro cycles. So by the time you start thinking in your time-based, the advantage of time-based thinking is that it gives you more awareness of the passage of time. There's this way of you just get sucked into time, into your work, and then before you know it, 3 hours is gone, and you really don't know how it just went. You just realize that you sat down 9, and then you looked up and it's 12 already, and you really cannot account for that time. What you have achieved is not necessarily commensurate to the passage of 3 minutes of time. Now imagine if you have actually been holding yourself accountable at the end of each 25th minutes. That's of course if you are using the Pomodoro technique. You've been holding yourself accountable at the end of each 25th minute, and then you rest for another 5 minutes. There's a lot of value to that. You don't overload yourself mentally. Put in some rest in between. Work for 25 minutes, rest for 5 minutes. That's using the Pomodoro technique. So the whole idea is whether you use the Pomodoro or not, the whole concept of time boxing has a lot of massive value in you, getting things done better. So what does time boxing, what does it do for you? Scholars and experts in the field of time management posit that with time boxing, it is easier to maintain productivity as well as significantly reduce the time spent working on a task. By now, we should be able to understand this a lot more, because by the time you time box, there is a huge load of productivity that you bring into your work, because you are able to respect time. You're able to be conscious of the passage of time, and you're able to use that time to achieve a lot more. I just described Pomodoro. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I would have loved to talk a lot more Pomodoro, but you could just Google it. There's so much already online about the Pomodoro technique. Although they added that dividing time into chunks itself, that division into chunks is not what guarantees productivity itself. Please note that very, very carefully. It is not the division of task into chunk itself that brings the productivity. It's the focus. It's the time consciousness. It's the distraction-free mood that it naturally brings each time you are conscious of time. And then if you're able to avoid multitasking, good for you. That increases your productivity. Okay, so time boxing can prevent any form of perfectionist tendencies and limit the amount of time you spend on insignificant activities. When you also realize you are struggling to maintain focus in your day-to-day activities, it might be simply because you're multitasking. Multitasking drains you mentally. It drains everyone mentally. So, but with the aid of time boxing, you're able to narrow your focus on just one task at a time. Yes, time boxing can enhance your productivity and effectiveness. You also need to understand that there are tasks that require high level of quality and longer periods for completion. Yes, as much as we advocate that you assign time effectively, that doesn't mean that you're not just now rushing through all what you need to get done. You know, there has to be that balance to ensure that you want to get the optimum amount of time. Beyond that time, it becomes a waste. Less than that time, it becomes a rush. So how do you balance those two important things? So do you think time boxing can benefit you too? Just take some time and think through it. How can you start using time boxing now and now in your life? What can you do? Remember, when you time box, rather than just having an open calendar about your activities, can you work in time boxes? Can you cut out distraction? Can you work on just one thing? Can you avoid multitasking? These are the principles we use in project management. These are the principles we use in project management. Don't forget, the whole idea is how can we discuss these principles, make them more useful to us, to make us, execute, manage projects in a smarter way, manage our lives in a smarter way. How can we use time principles from project management to be able to, internalize this thing and get even a lot better and smarter in our lives? So we spent the last 45 minutes discussing some aspects of project management. Project management is just that huge world, that super huge world. See it as like a whole universe that has stars, that has planets, that has asteroids, that has moons, that has, different things. And the more you imbibe these principles, the more you become, you get the superpower to be able to, get better than your peers, to shine and exhibit a lot of professionalism in what you do. Project management is not one person's world. Project management is just simply best practices from different areas of the world coming together to say, okay, rather than you trying to use your own life to experiment and get it right, why don't you just come and pick some standards, use the standard to be able to understand how the experts all over the world have been able to come together and, document what has worked for them, what has not worked for them. So that you can pick the standard and you can start sparking immediately without having to go through a huge trial and error that a lot of people have done in their lives. Well, it's not an automatic joker into paradise. But of course, it tells you that, okay, you want to carry something out. Okay, it tells you, okay, people have done this thing before you. They tried this method, it failed because of this reason. They tried this method, it failed because of this reason. They tried this method in this part of the world, it worked, but it might not work for you because of this reason. They tried this method, it worked. It might work for you because of this reason. And then you take all of this information and then you come up with your own unique method using the knowledge and wisdom and experience of many other people to be able to ensure you get your own right as fast as possible without wasting a lot of time doing a trial and error, wasting our own, trying to get our own direct experience alone. It's so unwise in the world of today to want to live your life based on your own thinking alone, to want to live your life based on your own experience alone. That is like a 1650 AD kind of approach to life. There's so much now. You can actually get so much value for yourself if you can just leverage on the experience of others. And we get this by, following standards and getting a lot of ideas from what other professionals all across the world have been able to do. Here is a list of a number of essential soft skills that project management actively promotes, actively teach, and actively make you imbibe as a result of you using its principles, using its standards. Please, it's very important. I implore us all to continue to grow. This is just, and what we have here is just, what we've done today is just an approach. It's just an attempt to just pick one of the numerous things to get to benefit from the world of project management. I implore us all to continue to grow. I implore us all to continue to, enhance our capacity to learn as many of these jokers in the world of project management, to enhance our personal capacity, to enhance our, to enhance our skill sets, both hard and soft, to, have enhanced relevance in the world of today. We can help you on this mission. We can actually help you on this mission. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this session, we actually really help people blast the PMP exam. Please understand that project management is more than PMP. PMP is just, if you want to go the extra mile, to have like a signboard on top of your head, such that everywhere you go, people can see that that guy is competent. That guy has demonstrated capacity to lead. That madam has demonstrated capacity to be extraordinary. That person has been tested and he has shown that he's worthy of carrying of being a project management professional. So it's just like a testimony to the fact that you have been drilled. So project management is more than the PMP. The PMP is just a certification of saying, yes, you are competent, yes, you are capable. But outside of the certification, the knowledge itself is key. Like I always tell people, certification takes you to the door. But once you get to the door, it is what you have that can now make you shine. So certification will take you to the door, and you just need to ensure you get to the door. So if you're interested in the project management, the PMP certification training that we do here at GEM Center for Human Capital Development, you could just reach out to us. The phone number is on the screen right now. Just reach out to us. You can call us on this line or WhatsApp. Somebody from my office would get across to you. We have a promo we are running now. It has expired actually, but if you have maybe some 2-3 people reaching out to us, we might be able to get the person to also join the waiting list for the next batch. We probably might open up the promo again for you. So I think this is, at this point, we've come to the end. Let's just take 1 or 2 questions briefly before we call it a day. It's 45 minutes already. So let's take questions quickly, 1 or 2. So the floor is open now for questions. If you don't mind, you can send a chat or you simply unmute and ask. We have barely 4 more minutes to be able to take questions, please. Okay. Okay, so there's a question here saying, how has the PMP changed the professional, your personal and professional life? Oh, answering this question will take a lot of time, but the summary of it is what I explained earlier. I said, PMP, project management generally, is like a world of a lot of useful knowledge. Professionals coming together to come up with set of standards, set of best practices, set of collective wisdom to say, this is how you lead, this is how you manage risk, this is how you manage this is how you get this done, this is how you do this. I showed us a slide earlier about some of these essential soft skills. So imagine having a set of industry best practices. Leadership, these are best practices. Team building, best practices. Motivation, communication, influencing, decision making, conflict management, team building, coaching, negotiation, and many more and many more. And having best practices around all of these things and much more for you to be able to say, okay, this is something that has worked. Of course, like I said earlier, these best practices are not necessarily to be copied hook, line, and sinker, but it gives us a base from which we can now modify, from which we can now adapt, from which we can now contextualize into our lives, into our businesses, into our work, and into our personal lives. Okay, so at this point, we've come to the end of this. You can reach out to us, like I said earlier, if you're interested in coming for the project management for the PMP certification training, you could just reach out to us 090-9957-6339. So just reach out to us. You will join the waiting list, and we'll reach out to you when the next training session would come up. Okay, a question here, quick one, saying how much can it take to be a certified PMP? The exam itself is barely $550. It's $555. That's the exam itself. But getting there the exam is actually a bit challenging. So you need to be trained very well. You need to join a very solid coaching program wherein you'll be able to pass the exam at first sitting, because most people don't pass at first sitting. So you go for a coaching program. Our own coaching program here is 300,000 naira, but we have a promo right now that's ongoing. We have barely 3 or 4 slots left. No, I think how many? I think 5 or so left, and that's for 200,000. That costs off a whole 100,000 off that amount. It costs that as the promo. It costs 100,000 off the training amount. And then we do these seminars. We do it quite often. I'm sure some of us here will have attended some of our previous seminars. We've done seminars on many. Our own approach here is to look at project management as a personal transformational journey. That's our own approach to project management. So we look at what is inside project management, and we pick a small thing from it, and we expand, and we pick lessons on how we can actually be better managers and be better humans, be better people in managing our personal self. Our PMP coaching program is for 8 weeks. That's one thing that is different from in what we do. You know, we have this approach to always wanting to make you imbibe what is being discussed. So we don't do project management PMP training in 4 days like others do. Our own project management training is in 8 solid weeks. So we're not just asking you to just come for 4 days, then you are done, you are gone. No, our own is for 8 weeks. We are together for 8 weeks, 8 solid weeks. So it's like a mini diploma program. Our own is like a mini diploma program. Okay, thank you very much. The promo is, of course, like I told you, it's still available. It has actually closed, but you can still, you know, if any fast fingers reach out to us, you can actually add the person to the next waiting list. If they are really serious, at least maybe some 2, 3, 4 people might be able to also get that promo. Then I was mentioning something earlier. I said we do these micro webinars a lot of, at least maybe every few weeks, we do micro webinars like this. So when you see our emails, open our emails open, we send emails out to people. You'll be receiving emails from us when we do micro webinars. The micro webinars are free, but the recordings are not available to you. They have to be paid. So if you're interested in the recordings, reach out to us. We'll get it. We'll tell you what you need to do to get the recordings. The recordings actually, they are not for free. Slides, recordings, and notes. Slide recordings and notes. So if you're interested, just reach out to me. You have this number here. Somebody from my office would get across to you. And please understand that we are an official partner to PMI. Unlike all the other people you see around, GEM Center is an official authorized training partner to PMI, Project Management Institute. So those who are PMP certified here can actually claim PDUs for these engagements. So if you are PMP certified, please reach out to us immediately now. You can claim 1 PDU for these engagements. That's just one of the benefits of actually reaching out to us. So you are getting this webinar for free, but after this session, it will be, you know, we'll package it, put it on one of our platforms. It will be sold. It's not going to come for free, you know. So, but it will be delivered for free. But after, those who don't come here live, they have to pay for it, you know. So that's just one of the benefits of being here. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, there's a question here saying, okay, what do I get if I refer my friend? Don't worry. If you refer your friend, we can give you referral bonus. We usually give people 10% referral bonus. We usually give you 10% referral bonus. All right, thank you very much. So stay glued to your email. When you see an email from us, from Ibrahim Kazim, just read. It will be telling you about the next micro webinar. We've done quite a number of micro webinars. We've done Ishikawa, we've done checklists, we've done quite a number of micro webinars, short 45-minute sessions, and we just pick something small from the world of project management, and we see how it can be of massive value to us in our personal lives, in our professional lives, and lots more. So thank you very much. Have a nice day. See you soon.